They also did a lot of getting into contests.
Okay.
And pushing with that.
Yeah.
Where opened up the door for Nate to become more creative. One of your first one, he did a pale and everybody brought an IPA. It was like bringing a Chevette to a Corvette race. So it didn't work. But the second one,
got my butt handed to me.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to All Beer Inside. Today I'm in Dickinson Center, New York, and joining me is Nathan and Jan of Township 7 Brewing Company.
Yes, sir.
Hi. Yep. Thank you both very much for hosting us this lovely Sunday afternoon. Look forward to hearing about the history of Township 7. You brought me out some tasty looking beers here to try. What am I going to be starting with?
So I started with Raspberry Haze. That's currently our best-selling beer. That's what I'm drinking here.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite.
Give it a go.
Yeah. As we do beforehand.
Yeah.
As we do on the show. A toast.
Cheers.
Salute.
That's nice and clean. You said this is a wheat raspberry?
Yes.
I'm not getting any of the wheatiness.
A light wheat.
What's the alcohol on that?
5.9.
Okay, so that's pretty good.
Yep.
So tell me more a little bit more about the beer. It's just raspberry wheat.
It was just that one. Actually, that was a recipe that I came up with pretty easily. When I put it together, I just started thinking like raspberry cobbler. If I was cooking in the kitchen, what would I add to it? Like, it doesn't use oats or anything like that. It's just wheat and barley. But we do use real raspberry puree, and we pride ourselves on that. There's no artificial flavorings.
Yeah, local raspberry puree.
Well, no.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean the purees are crazy right now, and like with the brewing industry, the way things are going with like smoothie sours and all that stuff, you see the purees just vanishing real quick. So
some of them are getting hard to find and kind of pricey.
Yeah, it's gonna be that way for a little bit.
Yeah.
As I said, we're 5 years away from normal when it comes to all like supply chain and all that stuff. We got a little bit to go.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
let's not talk about that. Let's talk about the history of what brought you two together in the creation of Township 7 Brewing.
Do you want to chime in on that?
Brought us together. We met at a bar.
Okay.
Brought us together.
So beer brought you together.
Yeah. He introduced me into brewing after we had moved from Arizona to Alaska.
Okay.
And he used to brew before we met. Got out of it while he was in Arizona, and we got back into it in Alaska. And that was the start of the learning more about beer besides just your domestic.
Mm-hmm. And then Alaska to upstate New York, kind of what brought you to this region?
I grew
That would be him.
We're on this property that I cut out by hand with a chainsaw.
Wow.
Yeah.
Property that we're on now is part of my father's property. Now Township 7 LLC owns it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because just driving up, you see like, Benedict Arnold came through here and this happened, and like all the signs on the highways. And my folks had a place in Chazy for a few years, so it's like, I'm kind of, this part of New York State is new to me. I've never really traveled much outside of Plattsburgh, as most Montrealers do. We pretty much go to Plattsburgh to do our shopping.
Yep.
I hear more French there some days than I do back home, so. It's good though. That's amazing though. Like, so this property's been in the family at least 2 generations, three. More. Okay.
My father bought it from my grandfather, and I built this. Essentially, the business bought it from him.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then Township 7, where does that come from?
So Township 7, the terminology for it is. And the only reason I know this is because my father's a land surveyor.
He came up with the name, actually.
We're actually in Township 7.
Okay.
Dickinson Center, which was part of Macomb's purchase, which then Township 7 was divided into different hamlets and towns. Dickinson Center falls into that.
Yeah, because I saw Dickinson Center West, then Center, I'm guessing East. Should we continue? We even saw coming in a restaurant that was like, Bienvenue Canadien, like welcome Canadians and stuff. Do you get a lot of Canadian folks coming?
We do.
Here? Yeah?
We do. A lot of from Quebec, Montreal, a lot of Ontario, pretty much.
Yeah.
Our radius is easily within 150 mile radius of people that travel here. It's not occasionally Maine, I see a lot of New Jersey, Connecticut, Massachusetts, a lot of Vermont.
A lot of Floridians in the summer.
Yeah. I mean, I'm finding the craft beer culture, just like sports culture, people will travel.
Yes.
For their teams, they'll travel to try new beers. I'm sure you're always at least one stop along somebody doing the 11 or somebody stopping at the casino. And I know you guys aren't that far, quick 20 minutes down, or even, let's say Plattsburgh, a little under an hour away, you're here. So I'm sure there's campgrounds too and stuff, trailer parks for people who rent places during the summer. So
we're kind of in the center of everywhere because we're halfway between Malone and Potsdam, halfway between Messina and Saranac Lake, halfway between Watertown and Plattsburgh.
Some people call it the middle of nowhere. I just like to flip-flop it.
It's funny too because there's, we're 170 episodes deep now, and it's like, we're just taking these back roads, and my videographer's like, dude, are you taking me somewhere to kill me? I'm like, no, we're going to drink beer. Because we're just in the middle of a road, nowhere, either trees or everything wide open, and I'm just like, we go from a biggish town of Syracuse or us, Montreal, we're a huge town, to like legit in the middle of nowhere, it feels like, and it's like, oh, there's a brewery. Oh, there's great beer to try here. So, because I mean, just the first beer alone, I could taste the passion of what you're creating. So
I hope so. I think you're going to enjoy the other ones too.
What got you into craft beer?
I couldn't find anybody to buy me beer. I was 18 years old.
Oh, you would have been fine in Montreal.
We went to Cornwall. I grew up here. We'd go to Cornwall quite a bit. But I joined the military when I was a kid, 18, right out of high school. Got stationed in Alaska, and it was just becoming a pain to find somebody to buy me something to drink. And I'm like, well, if Anheuser-Busch can do it, I can probably do it.
Hey, you figure they're like a multi-million-dollar, billion-dollar maybe conglomerate of InBev now, or like Labatt Molson. That's Molson Coors, which combined. So. It's nice to still have the, as I call them, the little guys, the mom and pop operations that, to me, this show myself, people have been, I support local now. I've been supporting local 15 years, guys. But yeah, I'm technically in New York State, even though I'm a Canadian, but I'm still supporting a local company, and that's the way I see it.
And it's much appreciated.
Yeah. I'm sure there's a lot around. I noticed like you guys have chickens too. I'm guessing spent grains are like, feed the chickens.
they munch on them.
Pretty much our spent grain typically goes to a local farmer. He eats it to his cows and his hogs, and great guy. And we actually got a chance to try some of the beef that was fed on the spent grain, and he even noticed
his pork.
And the pork, and he noticed a difference in the meat quality. Before the spent grain and after, and the marbling of the meat, and he's like, it really improved it. It's like, good, we'll give you more.
I'd only discovered that like when I first started getting into craft beer, my first ever brewery tour. They're like, we send the spent stuff to the farmer, and then the farmer slaughters the pigs and the cows, and then we sell the meats here. And I'm like, sold, like just
full circle.
And, the full circle of it is the most important part, and I'm sure. Along with that came, especially when the pandemic was like in its prime, I'm sure your locals really stepped up and bought an extra growler or bought an extra shirt, got a hat, got a gift card and things like that.
We did get we stayed open all the way through it.
Kegerators. So many people bought kegerators throughout that and started buying kegs.
That's cool.
I'm pretty sure it's common knowledge yeast doesn't know how to sleep.
Nope.
So we did have to shut down. I had COVID before COVID was cool.
Right through Christmas too.
We did shut down for 1 week during COVID.
Okay.
That's it.
Yeah, it sucked. I mean, nobody wanted this.
No.
What's number 2 I got here?
So that's Deerfly IPA. That's also nicknamed Nate's Baby.
Okay.
That's probably the recipe that I've spent the most time working on.
Sorry.
Oh, no.
I always... toast.
Na zdraví.
It's West Coast IPA or East?
Yeah.
Okay.
West. Yep. We use Cascade, Columbus, and Summit hops. Yeah. Pretty typical.
Cascade is incredibly popular.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
incredibly
Yeah.
going to be becoming incredibly rare.
Yeah. It's hard to get a hold of it right now.
So you said you pretty much started to brew because you couldn't get a beer anywhere.
Yeah.
To my understanding, though, a lot of U.S., at least bars near U.S. bases, will allow people under 21 to drink it and kind of turn a blind eye-ish to it.
I didn't have any luck with that.
Oh, okay.
I tried.
Yeah.
They used to. I've been to Luke Air Force Base about 10 years before I met you, and as long as you were 18,
Yeah.
you were able to drink,
Yeah.
but on base.
Yeah.
But they did away with that. And I think it does really depend on the state as well, and whether or not they will.
I don't know. The way I see it is if you can vote or join the military, you should be allowed to drink a beer.
I agree.
It's only 3 years. I know you could be a bit of a jackass between 18 to 21, but as long as you have a designated driver, or there's so many options to not drink and drive now.
Yes.
Why would you be doing that? Even driving up here through small town Quebec, I'm like, I can't imagine back in the day just people drinking and driving, gunning down these roads late at night. And nowadays, what's the point? It's silly. Just enjoy responsibly. There's no issue for that. So
Unfortunately, there's no Ubers or Lyft around here. If we had those, more people would go out and go to more of their local breweries if we had Ubers here.
When we were coming down here this morning, I was looking down into the parking lot and like, why is there a vehicle left over in my parking lot? Which is not, it's not uncommon, especially on Sunday morning.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, maybe somebody left it there. But we ended up sleeping late. We had a pretty good late night last night.
Yeah.
It was really good. The whole place is packed.
Yeah. This past weekend, it's I'm in my mid-40s now, so being up till 2 a.m. at a friend's house doing New Year's Eve, I'm like, this is the longest I've been awake in ages. What's going on? And then trying to get home. And thankfully, I had it. Our friend lives a little further out of the city, but I had a designated driver. He was drinking non-alcoholic ciders all night. So from a local, I think Citizen Cider, he got them from in Burlington.
Yep.
It's he did the responsible thing. He let his fiance and his friend get drunk and dealt with our butts in the half-hour drive home. So
well, one of the beauties of the way we've established our property setup, we live 125 feet from the brewery.
Yeah.
So we can, and we have, if it gets late, and we have friends that'll stay late and probably shouldn't drive.
Yeah.
Throw them on the couch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's amazing to hear. You're responsible, and it's your locals keep you going. You need your locals.
Well, you don't want anybody to get in trouble or get hurt.
Yeah, especially hurt. Let's say you don't kill yourself, you kill somebody else. Like imagine living with that.
Exactly.
And that's the whole thing. I'll jump multiple breweries, but I'll time it so that I'll spend an hour there, and I'll have a flight, and then I'll have a couple of waters, and then I really pace myself out so that if I know I'm driving, I'm going to be like 0.01 when I'm leaving the place. I'm going to be the equivalency of drinking a dozen non-alcoholic beers. So there's no question of enjoying responsibly shouldn't be an issue. Also, being 230 pounds kind of helps too. So.
Yeah, it does. You can absorb quite a bit.
Absorb a little bit more.
We do also make our own ginger ale, so we always have a non-alcoholic option, and we did start carrying a non-alcoholic slushy because we do get a lot of kids in here too, because we are family friendly, dog friendly.
Yeah.
Just make sure the dogs aren't on a leash because the chickens are running free.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, beware of chickens.
They're sweet
I
birds.
have a bit of a chicken fetish.
I'm sure most people though here, like their dogs are probably just running around in their fields with super well behaved most of the time. I can't.
Most of the time.
Yeah. I mean, it's the same thing in my neighborhood. It's like the nicest dog is the biggest, like largest 200 pounder, and then my friend's corgi barks for no reason. And it's like okay.
They're just spaz.
It's like I've over the years and taking veterinary medicine and animal science in high school was the bigger the dog, the sweeter it was. The smaller the dog, the more of it.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah, having an ex with the Chihuahua, that didn't go well.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of them either.
It's a rat. It's a walking rat.
I thank my grandmother for that. She had one, and the bed was right in front of the bathroom. You couldn't go to the bathroom without it biting your feet. So I'm not a fan of Chihuahuas.
Yeah, no, my last dog was a big lab, and then
No, that's they're adorable.
Yeah, so-
We had one for 14 years.
I know there's breweries that are doing them. There's dog brews now. There's like kind of dog zero alcoholic beers. Have you ever thought of maybe doing something like that?
I'm not really familiar with.
Brewdog is one of them, I think.
Brewdog has something like that, but there's a local brewery, I think I saw it was in Delaware or something, where they made like Bark Brew or something it's called, and they call it a zero non-alcoholic dog beer. It might just be seltzered water or something, but
I was just like, why would you put dogs in beer?
well, I've seen video. I had a friend whose dog would drink his beer.
I enjoyed bourbon as well.
Yeah.
Our lab would.
Oh, she was drool
I'd have
for
bourbon, usually Knob Creek. I'd have that on ice, and she would come up and lap it up.
Yeah.
Not going to say we haven't given beer to dogs.
Oh, we had one that
if
popped up
it's
a
all
storm
right with
into
their
it.
owner, it doesn't make much difference to me.
I mean, plus you got the huge lot too, so they could just take their dogs around the side and take a run and stuff. I mean, your parking lot is gigantic. I'm guessing you probably set up cornhole tournaments and stuff during the summer as well.
We have cornhole games,
Yeah, the popularity of cornhole and beer just seems right.
And cornhole's safer than horseshoes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or
Lawn darts.
Yeah, that's it. I feel we are of the generation where we actually had the lawn darts where you could impale a friend's face if you wanted to. So
One of my sisters got impaled in the back of the leg with one.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I know horseshoes. I took one in the shin once, and I was like, I'm never playing this again. And it was the like perfect like spun around and then hit me in the shin. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. How? So I'm assuming as much as you can, your ingredients are local too.
Well, it's sourced from
within reason.
Country Malt Group.
Okay, yeah.
Which
Just over in Chazy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nice, great people. They've been amazing to work with for the last 6 years.
I almost wore my Country Malt hat for this.
So your milling machine, does that come from them or is that homemade?
No, that came from Stout Tanks and Kettles.
Okay.
Same with the whole hot system.
Okay,
we're looking at.
Yeah, no, it's quite the setup you got here. I mean, it's, you're over, like you said, this is kind of your overflow.
Yes.
Where we are, unfortunately, in Quebec, you're not allowed to have people near the systems. It has to be completely closed off. And Vermont, New York State, and province of Ontario, it's all wide open. I don't know the rest really. I think I was in New Hampshire, and you were allowed to. But I'm like, so much space that's not being used.
Well,
we do have to put stuff in front of them to block it.
Okay.
But when we do have live music here, especially like karaoke night, this is a great room for karaoke.
And we can hear people on the other side of from the other side of the bar when we're serving.
Yeah. I'm sure you hear them outside if they're loud enough too. So
no, that never happened.
Yeah. Was the town of Dickinson very welcoming of a craft brewery opening here?
Yes.
Yes, definitely.
Extremely. The locals were amazing, and especially throughout the pandemic, helping to keep us going. We try to give back and help the locals as much as well. Especially the fire departments around here, because they really do need a lot of help.
Yeah. Do you guys do any charities for support of that?
Every Veterans Day, we give some of our proceeds, generally 10% of our profits, we've done Homeward Bound, Wounded Warriors.
AMVETS, Fisher House. I forgot the other.
Have you done any collabs with any other breweries or local farms when it comes to producing stuff? Like, what kind of collabs have you done?
You did create the Gristmill Pilsner for a restaurant that pretty much opened up during the pandemic.
Okay.
Hearth of Malone and Malone, and that we created that beer just for them.
So it wasn't necessarily a collaboration, but it was a custom beer designed for that particular restaurant, and it was made a deal with them that it would only be served here and at their establishment.
Okay, cool, nice. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like an exclusive beer type thing.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Exactly.
I like that stuff. If you could collab with anybody, like what's one of your dream collabs of any brewery?
Oh, I think I know. But go ahead. I want to see if I'm
All right. Well, my answer it would definitely be a local, obviously local brewery. Boys from Ausable.
Okay. Yeah.
I'd love to do a beer with them.
Yeah. We were lucky enough to interview them. Great guys. I'd been to Ausable before too. Great beers, you know.
Yeah, they do a really good job. There's also a brewery in Vermont, in Burlington, Foam.
Oh yes, yeah. They're big boys right now. They're popular.
They are. So. I was one of the brewers was part of the homebrew club that I was in prior.
One of Bobby.
Yeah.
So what's it? Because I know it's.
I'm surprised you didn't.
So in Montreal, we're called the the homebrewers. I'm not part of that yet. Probably ever. The Montrealers. I can't remember what Ontario's is called, but it's like the Vermont Homebrew Club. What's New York State's called?
That point.
I don't think we had a name.
Okay.
It was pretty much just go to a bar and sit down and have a couple drinks
and talk about beer.
And then
make a recipe on the fly.
Talk about beer.
Well, they also did a lot of getting into contests.
Okay.
And pushing with that.
Yeah.
Where opened up the door for Nate to become more creative. One of your first one, he did a pale and everybody brought an IPA. It was like bringing a Chevette to a Corvette race. So it didn't work. But the second one...
Got my butt handed to me.
Yeah. The second one, he got second place, and it was very limited on the style that you could do. And he came out with the chamomile wheat, and it turned out really good. I wish he would do that one again. And the third one, the main ingredient you had to use was mango.
Okay.
And the yeast that they provided, and he came up with Mango Haze, which was a mango IPA.
Oh,
First place out of 41.
That's awesome. I love hearing that too. I know our first ever interview at La Brosse in Montreal in the West Island, they did a homebrewers competition where they did 3 categories and people submitted, and then there was, they had a Cicerone and then 2 kind of people like me, which I call myself a consumer palate. I know what I like, I know what I don't.
Yep.
And it's the homebrewers that we've interviewed as well, Dan and Drew, they placed in the Pilsner, I believe it was the Pilsner category. It's like, that's awesome. Like hearing that it's friendly competition, which is great.
Yeah.
And I love hearing that. And that's another thing that let's get to the next bear and then I'll ask
yes, sir.
question.
Yeah.
So this is Backwoods Brown.
Okay.
It's an American brown.
Smells good.
These first 3 I put on are flagships that we try to keep on 24/7, 365.
These are the ones where it's keg after kegs just disappearing with the locals.
Mostly the raspberry and the Deerfly.
So cheers.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Give it a go.
What's the ABV on this?
Cheers.
5.8, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, 5.8 on the brown. The Deerfly was 6.9.
Ooh. Roasty, a little nutty.
Yeah.
A lot of...
That's a good brown.
That one mixes
It's very clean too.
extremely well with raspberry. I like mixing beers together.
Yeah.
And I've had some, why would you mix 2 beers? Like, have you ever had a classic black and tan? They're like, yeah. I'm like, it's 2 beers. They're like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But it does, because sometimes the brown can be a little bit too rich for some people. So when you add the raspberry, perfect.
That's awesome.
So the raspberry and Deerfly move like crazy. We also do, which I didn't put on your flight, 2-bottom, which was named after a 2-bottom plow.
Okay.
Corn, 6-row barley, nugget hops, and brewed down to about 4.9.
Okay.
It's typical everyday lawnmower beer as an alternative to somebody that comes in and says they want something. What do you have that tastes like Bud Light? I'm like, well, nothing. There's a gas station for that.
That's funny because that's the question I usually ask is you get that Bud Molson drinker in here.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What's that gateway beer where they're like, beer can have flavor? Yes, beer can have flavor. So
Another one is the Spanish Haze. It's a light American wheat with a hint of orange peel in it, especially like your Blue Moon drinkers and that. That's the beer. That's
lawnmower, softball beer.
Yeah.
To me, beer and sports, beer and lawnmower.
And you came to us on Football Sunday.
The final regular season week that we're recording this. Yeah, I should be watching my. I'm a fan of the Packers. I'm like, well, it's Green Bay. They're cold there too. So.
I'm a fan of both. That was a hard one for me.
My number one is the Bears. But I do like a lot of the others. And somebody about Packers fans not liking the Bears, and I don't know why.
That's something that's kind of fun. It's kind of, and Jan and I just really started getting into watching football.
I got back into it.
We have guys that'll come in. They're like, "You got the game on?"
Yeah.
And come in, have a few beers.
Yeah. So like myself, I'm very new to visiting Township 7.
Yeah.
Any friends in the area to try out?
Oh, geez. It depends on what direction you're going.
Yeah, it does depend on which direction. I mean, we're dead center in between two towns.
Yeah.
I prefer the food scene in Potsdam, which is west of here.
Okay.
20 more minutes.
Okay.
Although Malone has a couple establishments that we frequent when we're running errands and so forth. Maxfield's
That's our go-to.
That's our go-to. When we're in Potsdam, if we're running errands and I have an employee here, want to make a stop, have a beer or a glass of wine or something like that, and grab a quick bite to eat.
But it also depends on what you're looking for as well.
Okay, so let's just say more craft beer I'm looking for.
Maxfield's is really good. They do carry a lot of craft beers.
I can't remember how many handles they have. They've got at least 2 dozen.
Yeah.
Wow.
15, 20 maybe.
That's a lot of craft beer.
Yeah, they carry quite a bit. A lot of locals as well as just New York State and outside of New York as well. And we've always had great service there. The food's good.
It's good.
Yeah.
And then other breweries in the area. I know you said you're a fan of Ausable.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Ausable's not, but a little under an hour.
Yeah, 45 minutes. About an hour.
Yeah.
The closest ones would be the new one, Gristmill, In-Laws. But In-Laws is really only there Thursday 6 to 8, so it's a little difficult to get there.
We're trying to interview them, and we need to do a Monday to Friday to support our podcasting drinking habit. So it's doing it on the weekends are kind of a little.
I do have to
Tupper Lake, I would say Racket River.
I
that's who I thought you were going to do a collaboration.
Took the words
with.
right out of my
Mark.
mouth. I said I got to give a shout out to Mark Jesse for what he's done.
Yeah.
Down at Racket River Brewing. Yeah.
We were told by the owner of Hex and Hops to hit Racket River at some point too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Let's say some time opens up and you got 2 weeks you could just take off, go away and take a beercation you've never taken before.
A beercation.
Yeah. Where are you going? That's a beer focused vacation.
Pacific Northwest.
Yeah.
Okay.
Seattle, Portland.
Yeah.
Even
so Washington, Oregon.
Yeah, Washington, Oregon,
Northern
California.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really great beers out there.
Who does Pliny?
Stone.
Oh, Russian River.
Russian River.
Yeah. That's on my white whale of beers I've never had is Pliny.
I've never had it either.
Yeah.
Another Belgium. I would love to have some.
Oh, New Belgium got bought out. They're no longer.
No, I'm talking Belgium.
Oh, Belgium.
Oh, yeah.
I thought you said New Belgium. They were talking about New Belgium, the brewery. He's like, no, they got bought out.
Yeah.
I'd love to see go to the Cantillon Brewery.
Yeah.
Just Germany alone.
Awesome. So what's next for Township 7? Maybe opening a kitchen or more fermenters?
I think we're kind of in a holding pattern as far as business goes right now. Things are working out pretty okay.
Yeah.
Especially with the whole pandemic and crap that's been happening.
Shifted everything.
I'm just kind of treading water for a while.
Yeah. Go with the flow.
Yep. I'd like to see, and we're working on some more distribution.
Okay.
Self-distribution, and as well as wholesale.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm assuming more restaurant, getting more kegs to restaurants and stuff like that too would probably be.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
We were looking at doing canning, but we realized that our facilities is a little too small. We don't have the room for the cans.
We're outgrowing this building pretty quickly.
I don't know what it's like out here, but I know in Montreal there's a couple places that use a rental canning unit where the canners will come in and they'll make sure that your beer goes into their canning line properly and that the loss is very, very little from what I've heard. From a few places.
I'm way too type A for that. if I'm going to start canning, I'm going to buy a canning line.
But I mean, you do growlers, right? So have you maybe thought of doing crowlers as well?
I've thought about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I know crowlers are becoming popular, and I'll be honest, like a can when I'm going to a beach or when I'm sitting by the campfire hiking, cans are just so convenient.
Yes, they are.
It's not even funny. What's this last beer I got here?
So this is a one-off.
Okay.
It's sort of a leftover beer. I had some grains and some fruit puree. This is Midnight Cherry. Kind of put a little innuendo on the name.
Yeah.
It's an oatmeal stout brewed with cherry puree.
Awesome.
Yeah. Cheers.
Cheers. Toast. Ooh, that is tasty. What's the ABV on this?
No, I think that
6.5.
Yeah.
It sounds like you stay somewhere between 5 and 7 most of your beers.
Most of them. Okay. I think
Wow.
you're talking about what we might start doing new in the future. I don't know how it's going to go over, but increasing efficiency by stripping the mash
Okay.
a little more than we have, which will obviously drop the ABV on a lot of beers. But it'll give us more yield, and that'll help take advantage of is probably not the right word. Higher grain costs and hop costs and so forth.
You could see yourself getting some barrels too. You could see yourself maybe doing some barrel aging stuff.
We've done that.
Okay.
Yeah.
We got a maple bourbon barrel. Ooh. So the maple was aged in a bourbon barrel for about 9 months, and then we got it. And there's still a lot of sugar crystals in there.
Like stalactites in there, just sugar.
We took our Backwoods Brown, which is typically 5.9. We put in there, aged it for about maybe 4 to 5 months, and it jumped it up to 10.1.
Wow.
And we called it Freight Train because it will hit you like a freight train.
Yeah.
That's a big beer.
Our other big one was Night Train, which was a coffee, stout, and we did use local coffee from Genovi. And that had wonderful, their Direwolf, which is their espresso roast. It went in beautifully with it. That one was around 9%.
Yeah.
It's not too often. I'd say our highest ABV that we keep on hand right now is our seltzer. It's 7.9.
Wow, that's a big number for a seltzer.
Well, didn't intend it to be, but
I could have brought yield up on that or saved a bag of dextrose.
Well, we found out from the labs that they created yeast just for seltzer, and we were using our house yeast. Which took a little longer and kept it right around 5.3. It's like, we'll try this new yeast. In 2 weeks, it went to 7.9. We're like, geez. Okay, we weren't expecting that. But people love it because they only need 1, maybe 2, and they're good.
It sounds like you have pretty much almost anything available for somebody who's willing to try something different.
We try to keep something available for different palates.
That's great.
Yeah, instead of when we were first looking and breweries used to go to, so many of them would have like 6 or 7 different type IPAs, and that's it. It's like, what about other beers? Not everybody likes hoppy beers or bitterness. So it's nice to have that that variety for people.
I don't even, newish brewery. They're 5 years now. They're in Montreal, but it's like it was just IPAs at first. I'm like, okay, I'm getting tired of it. And it's like, here's a lager. Here's a Pilsner. I'm like, finally. I know it cost you guys a lot of money to buy those tanks, but I was getting tired of coming to your place because it was just the same IPA. It felt like over and over and over, just different hops.
Yeah.
Kind of funny how that trends. The IPA, at least that's my instinct, IPA trends kind of coming down, fruits and sours.
Yeah.
I still, personally, when I do a flight, I usually try and do like a lager or a Pilsner, a regular pale ale, or an ESB if I could put there. Yep. But there's always an IPA there. There's especially in New England, just to get that like crazy juice bomb. But I'm not. It's not all the time. It's the same thing with sours. Sours I found went this, and now they're kind of doing that. Yep. So it's
just trendy.
Yeah, it's the same thing with food.
Yeah.
Impossible Meat became popular, and then people are like, I prefer real stuff. So
yeah.
All right, so for those who are looking for Township 7 Brewing Company, where can people find you?
So we are halfway between Malone and Potsdam.
On 11B.
On 11B in northern New York, in the middle of paradise. Well, not in January, but that's where we're at. We're open 7 days a week, 364. The only day we're closed is Christmas, and
makes sense.
There's always someone here to pour a beer.
Yep.
Social media, Facebook, Instagram.
Facebook for sure.
Facebook, website.
Was
Township 7 Brewing is the website. And with the website, we also put on there any events that are coming up, any events that we're going to, especially when we have music.
Amazing.
Any new beers that are coming out, I'll let them know it's coming soon. If we're out of a beer or if we're done with that, we if our seasonal one is out, let people know that it's out. We try to keep that and keep it up to date for everybody. So they can, and there's a little map on there too if you need it. So you can find your way here.
Just make sure you check Google Maps because you kind of appear out of nowhere when you drive along.
Yes, we do sneak up on you.
So, yeah.
At night, you can see us a little bit better because we're lit right up.
Okay,
and when it's dark, we stick out.
Amazing. All right, all that's going to be in the show notes. As for us, allbeerinside.com is the website. At allbeerinside on all social media. And as I say at the end of all episodes, drink craft, not crap.
Yeah. I agree.
Thank you both very much.
Cool.
Really appreciate it.
That was fun, man.
Really appreciate this
Such a
today.
pleasure. Thank you.